I think even the good girl can turn bad. She'll become desperate.
When a man goes to silence, for her, silence is not peace.
Calling all the men who think their wives have gone insane. This is perimenopause.
Men don't want a good leg. Are you trying to keep your homeboys to yourself?
A growing number of viral videos are centered around a surprising claim. Many women are becoming increasingly frustrated as men seem less motivated by attention, dating, and even casual relationships than in previous generations. Some creators argue that emotional neglect and lack of attention can dramatically affect relationship dynamics. Others claim that when men withdraw, become emotionally unavailable, or stop pursuing women altogether, it creates confusion and anxiety for women who are accustomed to receiving validation and connection through romantic relationships. The discussion goes beyond dating. Some videos focus on changing relationship expectations, while others point to issues like emotional disconnection, burnout, mental health, and even hormonal changes that can affect long-term relationships. Meanwhile, critics argue that many men have become less interested in chasing validation through dating and are increasingly prioritizing their own peace, hobbies, careers, or personal goals. The result is a growing online debate about whether modern relationships are suffering from a lack of effort, a lack of communication, or simply changing priorities between men and women.
Men over 50 are almost twice as likely as women to marry out of the West. So these guys are they've exhausted their options in the West or in their town or in their city or even in their country, and they're expanding their dating map. So what's actually even more interesting is that guys are actually they're starting younger doing this too. So like guys who are in their 20s and 30s are like, I'm not even going to start dating in my community. I'm going to look abroad first, which is kind of insane to me. Like, you got to test the waters first before you even go out there.
78% of men don't approach women anymore, which means 78% of men are not broke or in jail.
3 reasons why I should be your girlfriend. I will cook and clean for you all the time, every day. I'm very loyal and supportive. Very supportive and loyal. And lastly, I will give you every day.
Those ships sailed, I'm afraid. Years of men being criticized, accused of being creepy when they showed any interest, accused of being toxic just for daring to be masculine. You said you didn't want or need us, so we're giving you what you wanted.
Women should know that men aren't chasing y'all anymore. I think we've come to the conclusion that, chasing somebody is having no self-respect for yourself. And men are starting to realize this. Like, if someone's playing around, someone's not texting back, don't have that same energy for them, they're just going to go to somebody else. It's simple. It's really simple. Like, if one person is not showing affection, not wanting to care to know them, calling, texting back, just really there. Like, we're just going to remove ourselves to somebody that will. And to be honest, there's always someone that will. You know what I mean? Like, if you not doing it, another girl is going to do it. You know what I mean?
The men who are not approached by women have already been rejected. Women approach Chad and Tyrone. They don't approach average Joe, but they will try to manipulate Beta Bob to pay their bills.
Guys, listen, dating is changing and women are finally feeling it. Women are finally feeling it. Listen, the past 10 years, they had their pick of the litter. Guys were sending direct messages, guys were double and triple texting, guys were doing everything and anything to get a response back or to set up a date. Guys were actually actively initiating dates and trying to actually pursue and create relationships. And what happened? Women didn't want none of them. So now what's happened? Men have quit. Men don't approach. Men don't double text. Men don't do anything anymore. Men just build their purpose. Men just keep building their finances. Men just keep going back to the gym. And men have quit. Because what happens is you now have an entire generation of men that think they're unattractive. You have an entire generation of men that believe they're either not worthy or they're unattractive or that women just naturally don't want them. You know, you see all this stuff like, oh, women would rather have a relationship with their dog or an animal or a bear in the wild than they would a man, and all this stuff. Okay, that's what they wanted. That's what they claimed they wanted. Here we are. What you're going to actually notice, what's going to happen is women are going to most likely start within the next couple of years sending more choosing signals. Women are most likely going to start to pick up the phone and initiate phone calls first. Or what you're even going to see is women just might start even approaching first, because that's what we have actually came to now, is men have completely just quit. Some would say for good reason.
I think what they really mean when they are asking is, where are all the men who are 10s and rich? Because these women wouldn't even reply to most guys, just tell us to get lost. They are still looking for the rich, handsome guys, not ordinary Joe Blow.
Oh boy, I think it's safe to say the ladies are not happy with us men, especially those of you who've headed overseas.
Can we have a serious conversation about the LBHs, passport bros, like whatever you want to call them?
A conversation? Sure, but like seriously, what's the problem? Though I suspect there really isn't one. Well, at least not one that men need to concern themselves about, but go ahead.
I just don't understand how the most basic level men can leave America, travel to these other countries, and just pull absolute tens, like the hottest girls that you will ever see.
How is it happening? Oh, sweetie, that one's easy. Because you see, in other countries, the women aren't like you and most women in the U.S. You know, completely shallow, off the charts delusional. In fact, so far off the deep end mentally, you'd need 2 lifeguards to get back. That is the reality for most of you women in the United States now. You're shallow and judge people by their looks, and only their looks. Whereas overseas, those women value men for who they are as a person, not just what they look like. Not to mention they haven't completely deluded themselves into thinking they're somehow super hot 10s when at best they're mids themselves. And that's after they've speckled on so much fake up, the EPA is considering listing their bathroom as a hazardous waste site. So it's really not that hard to understand why men are heading overseas and easily finding terrific women, because that's where they're to be found. Unlike, say, trying to find one lying in her bed thinking she's all that and talking like Moon Unit Zappa singing Valley Girl.
And these men, like men that we wouldn't even look twice at, are just pulling them and convincing them to date them. Like, I truly don't understand it. Can someone please explain to me how this is happening and how these men are able to get away with it?
Well, I already explained it, but let me repeat myself. All you care about is looks. Well, that and money. Women overseas? Not so much. But because all you care about is looks and money and don't care about anything else like, say, love, companionship, friendship, compatibility, to you, those things are nothing. They're things that are in fantasy movies, and we don't need any of that shit. Well, that's why. See, what matters to you is he 6 feet tall with 6-pack abs and a 6-inch you-know-what, so that you can show him off to make other girls jealous. Not to mention, of course, the 6-figure income, so he can fund the lifestyle you think you deserve, which again is designed to be able to show off to the female hierarchy what you've managed to obtain, even though it's his, not yours. That is today's American woman's expectation, all while y'all are bringing what in return? Besides a whole bunch of past due credit card debt, a body count higher than your credit score, and looks that disappear the minute you wipe them off at night with your baby wipes. Not to mention personalities that expire faster than milk left in the Texas sun in mid-August. And oh yeah, the annoying whiny voices that are worse to listen to than fingernails on a chalkboard. So yeah, it's pretty easy to understand why it's a win-win for men and women overseas. Because American women offer nothing, literally nothing. Well, except drama, delusions, and absolutely ridiculous demands and expectations. But for fun, let's see what else she has to say.
Also, like, how can we stop this? It's out of control and it's getting to a point where it needs to be stopped.
needs to be stopped. You can just hear and see the panic setting in, can't you? I mean, didn't she just say she doesn't want these men, nor do any of her girlies? 'Cause, they're only mids. So why are you so worried about it, darling? Why are all of you panicking and asking, where did all the good men go? Why do you think it's out of control and needs to be stopped if you wouldn't be caught dead with those men? Why would you care in the least? I mean, it couldn't possibly be that while you have no problems going online toxically trashing men along with all the other girlies, even though deep down you know that in doing so you're making yourselves persona non grata to men. I mean, it couldn't possibly be that. It couldn't be that you actually know you're not really a 10 and just play one on TV. Well, the TV in your mind. It couldn't be that she knows that her future is bleak with little to no hope of finding a true relationship with any man, good, bad, ugly, or mid, because the only thing she has to offer is delusions, toxicity, and hatred. I mean, yeah, sure, it's all true, and no real man is going to want to be within 10 feet of her, let alone date her or marry her. So I guess she's got to find some other way to force the men to pay attention to her, since none are now. Frankly, all of this is just yet another beautiful example of exactly why men should be going overseas. I mean, good God, who would want to be around that mindset and delusion 24/7? I know I wouldn't, nor would any real man, which is exactly why she can't possibly attract or find one. Men, this is the mindset these women have today, and it is so pervasive here in the States that your only alternative might be to head overseas. Remember, these women are who they are, and they're showing it to us every single day when they make these videos. These women will never bring anything to the table, and certainly nothing of value to your life. No acknowledgement, no appreciation, no respect, and for damn sure, no peace. So yeah, I guess if you really do want a woman in your life, your only option might be to get that passport and fly off into the sun, because the only woman you're going to find here are darker than your future would be if you actually married them. Nothing but shadows, drama, and headaches you simply can't medicate.
It is not that women don't have anything to offer a man. It is that they have been raised to believe that they do not have to give of themselves in a relationship. They are never told how to treat a man while they are growing up. Young boys are told to be respectful, kind, patient, and understanding to girls. Most approaches are met with disrespectful turndowns. You know the answers: I have a boyfriend, as if, not a chance, in your dreams. These responses are a direct result of not being taught to respect men.
I think even the good girl can turn bad if she's starved of attention from her man. If your man is pouring water into your cup on a daily basis, she can't see other men. She becomes blind to other men. But you know, when your man, you look beautiful, he doesn't say you look nice, or you don't make time for each other, he ignores you, no longer gives you attention. She's so starved in that moment that unfortunately all it takes is one man to give one bit of attention. She'll zoom in on the attention, forget all the other red flags in this man, and he'll become attractive to her because it's a feeling she's chasing, not a person. If you want to keep a loyal wife, all you have to do is remind her she's loved. It's really simple and easy. Remind her she's loved, she won't seek it. But if you forget to give her that, she'll become desperate for it.
That last dude hit it right on the head. It's hard to waste energy chasing a woman who is disrespectful, narcissistic, entitled, and has a boss babe mentality, which is basically a large population of women from the feminist Me Too movement. Toxic masculinity and misogyny are part of the everyday male bashing. Social media and dating apps have only made this worse. As for why men seek to find partners abroad, it's because other cultures value men, simple as that. It's a realization that took me 30+ years of adult life to figure out.
When a man goes to silence, the female body experiences chemical stress similar to hunger or a threat to survival. 1. A woman's psyche is tuned for connection. A woman's brain is especially sensitive to emotional distance. When a man goes silent, the same brain areas activate as during physical pain. For her, silence is not peace, it's a signal of danger. 2. Silence is perceived as a threat. From an evolutionary point of view, loss of connection meant isolation from the tribe and therefore a risk of death. That's why the body reacts with a release of cortisol. Even short-term ignoring in messages can trigger a strong hormonal spike. 3. The body reacts like it's starving. UCLA studies showed when a woman feels emotionally disconnected, her body activates the same chemical processes as during hunger. That's why anxiety, clinginess, and irritability appear. The body asks for a dose of closeness. 4. A woman doesn't lose control. She's surviving. Rapid heartbeat, chest tightness, tension in the stomach. It's not drama, it's chemistry. Her body literally fights to restore connection because for the brain, closeness equals safety. 5. Men often don't realize the scale of the reaction. For him, silence is a way to be alone, to process emotions. For her, it feels like he's gone, disappeared, stopped existing. The brain perceives it as the loss of stability, hence the fear, panic, and fight for contact. 6. It's not weakness, it's biology. A woman isn't overreacting. She's losing the signal of safety. Her body triggers measurable reactions. Increased cortisol, lower serotonin, disturbed sleep. It's natural biochemistry, not emotional weakness. 7. Silence destroys trust. When it happens repeatedly, the brain creates an association, love equals danger, and every next distance causes even more anxiety. That's how emotional dependency forms. Even short pauses feels like a breakup. 8. A woman doesn't need words, she needs presence. She doesn't need explanations. She wants to feel the man is still there, even in silence, that he's not disconnecting. This activates oxytocin and reduces stress more effectively than any apology. 9. Understanding this is the key to harmony. When a man knows how her biochemistry works, he stops seeing her reactions as too emotional. He learns to give what truly heals: stability, connection, peace. That's what real maturity looks like. Write connection in the comments and I'll share how you can calm your nervous system and restore your inner safety even when he goes silent. And if this resonated deeply with you, DM me. I love connecting personally and holding space for women one-on-one.
Modern women are panicking. The government has basically divorced them. They're getting laid off and fired in record numbers, and even the nice guys and simps who used to orbit them have checked out.
Calling all the men who think their wives have gone insane. Your wife is probably between the age of 35 and 45. She has no libido. She has no interest in being intimate with you. In fact, you breathe wrong. You smell wrong. You're doing everything wrong. She has no motivation. She's tired all of the time, not just as an excuse at night, but literally tired all the time she's taking naps. She never did that before. You're wondering, where did my wife go? She doesn't participate in any of the hobbies that used to light her up. You don't remember the last time you have seen her lit up. She complains a lot about her body aching. She's taking a lot of ibuprofen, maybe a little extra wine. She just feels and looks meh. And it doesn't seem like any amount of romance, helping around the house, motivation, nothing you do is helping. Maybe you're even already going to marriage counseling because she thinks it's you. She probably already went to her doctor and asked for help with libido and her tiredness and all of it. And her doctor probably said, it's probably your marriage. And so then she came home and signed you up for marriage counseling. Or maybe I'm talking to the man that it's too late and you're hearing this after you've been separated or divorced. This is perimenopause. It is destroying relationships because nobody, no doctors, not the women and not the men, know that this is happening, and everyone is blaming the husband and the relationship. So I want to hear your story. Share in the comments what has been going on. Did you know about perimenopause? Does all of this sound like your wife? Let's figure it out together.
Men did approach, but the women humiliated them and posted on TikTok for everyone to see, adding to his embarrassment. Even if he asked politely, women don't politely reject but give a face of disgust and disdain. Which sane man would want to approach now?
Men don't want to get laid, because I made a video saying that women need to sleep around more, parenthesis, because you need to discover that his D ain't that special. Anyway, but like, if you sleep around more men get laid, right? And there are still men in the comment section going, don't listen to her, girls. Don't listen to her. And it's like, sir, are you trying to keep your homeboys to yourself, or what's going on?
A cold, approaching woman in a public space will never return. Not even in the most remote places on Earth. Use the dating apps and go for the chads.
No one wants to fuck anymore. Seriously. No one wants to make out. No one wants to flirt. Everyone's tired, anxious, and touch-starved. So I wrote this Substack essay about how we're in a sexual recession and what's causing that. And see, women are some of the most educated, employed, and financially stable generation of women yet. So we don't need men for survival. If we're in partnership, it's because we want to be in partnership. And that is definitely impacting the way that dating, relationships, hookup culture, situationship culture is happening in Gen Z right now. Men have been told by their fathers, grandfathers, society that they are focused on providing for their women and their families. And I think now that Gen Z women can support themselves financially, we don't need men to provide for us. We definitely want them to, for sure, but we don't need them. We're focused more on equal partnerships and men that can show up emotionally available and be attuned to us. And unfortunately, I don't think the men are catching up, and this is causing a lot of strife. I think women collectively are realizing that there's not really a point to giving your body to someone that acts like they don't care if you live or die. And on top of that, they're not providing financially. And a part of that is not entirely their fault, because the economy that we're in is very difficult. And I think everyone is feeling the effects of that. But it's like, okay, the men are not planning dates. They're not paying for dates. They're not providing anything financially, and then on top of that, you're not emotionally available. Anytime I express myself, it's too much emotional labor, or I'm emotionally high maintenance, and it's like, what is the benefit of me giving myself to you if I get absolutely nothing in return? I think all of this is also contributing to the whole male loneliness epidemic, where men are starting to be decentered. I think women are focused a lot more on themselves, working on their relationships, building their careers, working on their finances, and because of that, men are not needed as much. Now I think women are focused on wanting men and being very intentional about choosing the men in our lives rather than being with men out of survival for financial needs. And on top of that, it's like, again, if you're not contributing to me financially and supporting me, making me the best version of myself, and also you're not contributing emotionally by being in tune with me and listening to me and actually caring about my feelings, it kind of feels like there's no point. It's not entirely the men's fault. It's also the patriarchy and capitalism and all of these systems that have been built to break us down and to divide us. And one of my mutuals, Justin, made a really good point where sex and intimacy is becoming a luxury. If you can't afford to date, if you can't afford to go to therapy, if you were not raised in an environment where you were taught to work on yourselves and to reflect and be empathetic, you are going to be at a disadvantage, and you're not going to have the same access to relationships that maybe previous generations have. And I think another big thing as well with our generation is everybody is afraid of vulnerability. Everybody's afraid of intimacy, and that's also contributing to the divide as well. And I'm honestly seeing that in my personal life as well with my friends who are all educated, well-spoken, good head on their shoulders, good people that are beautiful and kind and giving, and even they are in a similar predicament where a lot of people are not in relationships because they don't want to acquiesce to their side, and a lot of people are horny and pent up and have no sort of release because, again, why give yourself to someone that can't contribute to you in some way? But also, people don't want to do the work to be the type of person that can be in a relationship. So where do we go from here? There's a lot that we can't control in this world, but there are things that we can control, and that's how we treat each other. And I think one solution to this would be, I would love if the men would take a step forward and try to become more emotionally available, try to be vulnerable, and be comfortable with intimacy. Even if it doesn't necessarily start with the women that you're pursuing, even if that's in your friendships, I think that is an amazing, great first step. Going to therapy, talking about your feelings, getting comfortable, being emotional, because if this continues, the problem is just going to grow more and more, because I don't think that a generation of people who are all pent up and repressed and horny is good for society. So all I want is for people to have great love stories, great relationships, and really great sex.
What women are failing to understand is that we don't give a shit about you anymore. You created this issue, live with it. What these viral clips reveal is a growing tension around attention, connection, and expectations in modern relationships. Many women express frustration when men become emotionally distant, unresponsive, or seemingly indifferent to dating altogether. At the same time, many men argue they are simply opting out of behaviors they no longer find rewarding or necessary. Whether this shift represents emotional burnout, changing social norms, or a broader transformation in dating culture is still being debated. What is clear, however, is that both men and women appear to be struggling to understand each other's expectations in an environment that looks very different from previous generations. As these conversations continue to spread online, they highlight a larger question. If fewer men are actively pursuing relationships and fewer women feel emotionally fulfilled by modern dating, what does the future of relationships look like for both sides? You're watching Modern Dating Logic, where we keep it real, not emotional. If you see the pattern, you already know what to do.